Hi and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. We are here to look forward to the North London derby, and I've got a legend in the building to look forward to it with me, and that of course is Mr. Chris. We fist in there.
Yeah,
Chris Hudson. Big up in the building, Chris. Great to have you back. Just before I get into the show, check out Ultimate Fan. Right, this is a brand new game that I've been playing a lot. You'll see here, I'm just going to swipe up. I've just got a gold pack on it. See which players I've got. Man United. I already got them as actually. Konza from Aston Villa.
Good player.
And Jadon Sancho. All right. So what you do basically, it's a bit like a sort of football fantasy. You open packs, you build your team. You know, you can see there some of the players that I've got. I've got some good players there. Edison Cavani, Salah, and that. And I can enter all of these into my team. And every week I can win prizes. So look, I've got Maguire here. If I just press on it there, I can... Oh, it's glitching for me there. But I should be able to... Normally, I should be able to enter him into my team, right? And I'm going to put Kieran Tierney in there as well. So I'll put him in there as a defender. But you can see there I've got Zaha, Bruno Fernandes, Thomas Partey in midfield, Liverpool there as well. So that is how you do your team. Look, let me see if I'll try it again there. Maguire. There you go.
Yeah.
Maguire's in there. Saka. I'll put Saka in my midfield. And there's Kieran Tierney at the back there. And that is my team for this weekend in Ultimate Fan. All right? So make sure you check it out. It's a great little feature. The link's in the description. Enter it right now. Now, Chris, we're here to talk about the North London derby.
That's it, mate.
It's huge. Now, you was telling me before the show that your first... You know what? Tell everybody your first North London derby, because I can't believe it. You look too young for this.
1968, White Hart Lane, January. I think it was late in the second half. Remember, I'm 10 years of age and I'm in enemy territory.
Yeah.
And all through the game, I'm going, come on, Arsenal. My dad's bricking it. There's all these Tottenham fans there ready to kill me.
Well, you're in the Tottenham end?
Yeah. And I'll never forget it. I can see it now. Jimmy Greaves, God rest his soul, lovely ball through. Gilzine, 4-0, bang, right through his legs, 1-0.
What, we lost?
Yeah, I was gutted. But I've got to say, we made up for it a couple of years later when we won the title. So, you know.
Yeah, of course. But wow, 1968, you don't look that old, mate.
Thank you very much, Bob.
You're looking good. But you know the weird thing about that is that we know that the North London derby is the height of rivalry between Arsenal and Tottenham. You know what I mean? Deadly rivals, right? But I speak to sometimes some fans, some real older fans, who say that back in the day, you used to get Arsenal fans and Tottenham fans that would go and watch each other's club.
Yeah,
if Tottenham was, say Tottenham were playing at home and Arsenal were playing away, some Arsenal fans would go to Tottenham and watch Tottenham. Is that true?
Yeah, I knew a family when I was growing up in Enfield, that's season tickets at both clubs.
Wow. Season tickets at both clubs?
Back in the day.
Who did they support?
I never asked them that, but I know they had season tickets because I always found it a bit strange.
Yeah.
Personally. But no, that was quite an occurrence back in the day. But that doesn't mean it wasn't naughty on the terraces, because it was.
Yeah.
But I think it was a certain age of people. I think they had 2 season tickets, one at Arsenal, one at Tottenham.
Well, you never see that now, I'll tell you that.
That's too much hatred.
It's a derby full of hatred. One of the things that have really pumped up the hatred over the years, I felt, a real turning point with that derby. It was already really hostile, but I think when Sol Campbell left there and came over to the Arsenal, I think that was the tipping point that brought the hatred. It levelled it up about 20 notches, didn't it?
Yeah, but I do think... I think a lot of Spurs fans, if you think about how many years I've been watching Arsenal, you think from 68 till now, you think some of the things I've seen and what they've had to put up with. I think a lot of Spurs fans do have a massive problem with Arsenal.
And, chip on the shoulder?
Big time. You know, Sol Campbell was big, but what about Pat Jennings?
Yeah.
The greatest keeper, and they let him out. He come to Arsenal for peanuts. And they put Barry Daines and got relegated. So you know what I mean? But then obviously it's not all one way. I mean, I've had some great moments with Arsenal against Tottenham, and you might be shocked. People would assume I would say the 2 league titles.
Yeah.
But I'll never ever forget the Rocastle Ian Anderson League Cup semi-final, Hart Lane. The third match when they gave out the ticket arrangements for Wembley.
Yeah, yes.
I'll never ever forget the actual third game when Rocky scored that goal. And that was a major turning point in the fortunes of both clubs.
Yeah.
Because Tottenham never got over that game. And I don't think
that was the beginning of Spurs.
Yeah. It was the beginning of the Arsenal sort of superiority. But we've got to admit, in the last couple of years, Tottenham have sort of gone like that, but then have regressed back level to where we are. So
yeah. Victor Lang with a super chat. He says Arsenal will be level on points with Spurs. And he's saying Arsenal to win 3-1. He says big up Chris and Robbie. And that is the thing about it, that despite our terrible start to the season, losing our first 3 games, Spurs fans giving us loads and loads of banter, telling us about the gap. You know what I mean? Lee Judges was telling me how, he showed me what he sent me a photograph after one game where they posted a load of those flags that they had for their opening game through his shop, right? Despite all that, if we beat them on Sunday, we will, as Victor Lang says, we will be level on points with them, despite that poor start of the season, losing our first 3 games. They've been poor over the last couple of games, haven't they?
The thing is, though, I wish they hadn't been that bad. I get worried because I know this is a thing. Form goes out the window in the North London derby, but it does. And the fact that Harry Kane hasn't scored a league goal, I'm not happy. I wish he had, because what's going to happen.
He did score the other night, to be fair.
That's the League Cup, Rob.
Haddy says, big up Don, Robbie and Chris. It's always great to have Chris. Love his views. Which players would you take from Spurs other than Kane and Son?
Right. Ooh. Other than Kane and Son.
Other than Kane and Son, which players would you take? None.
Sorry. I wouldn't even take the goalkeeper. I think his form's
done, isn't he?
Dippy. There's no way you take any defenders. There's no one in midfield. And Kane he's saying other than Kane or Son. I'm a big Son fan. I think he's fantastic.
You know what? I agree with you. Maybe that Ndombele's not bad, but
if Arsenal fans moan about Xhaka, the Xhaka equivalent at Tottenham is
Ndombele.
Yeah,
he's a lot more skillful than
Xhaka. People
are
Spurs fans who are acquaintances of mine, not friends. Are always moaning about him. Always.
Yeah, he's a bit lazy. I think, you know what I think it was. I was saying to Expressions earlier on today. I was going, what it is with Ndombele? He's a good player, very skillful, technically brilliant. But I just feel that the way he plays football, that's not how nowadays you want your midfielders to be all action. They've got to press, they've got to work hard, and he don't do that, does he?
He's very lackadaisical.
Yeah. So,
a bit like Maitland Miles, Rob, in midfield.
That's a good shout. Yeah, you know what? I'm with you. I don't think I'll take anybody else. Kane and Son. I
reverse it. How many were they off of Arsenal?
They'd probably turn around and say a similar thing. They'd only take a couple of players.
I think they'd have some of our defenders.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one player they'd have, and they could have had him, is our Japanese friend.
Yeah, Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu.
Who they wanted.
They wanted. So with Tomiyasu, they were supposed to. They were the first club in for Tomiyasu, and it looked like they were going to get him. They didn't get him, and then they sort of changed their mind, and they went and got Emerson Royale, who's looked a bit dodgy over the first couple of games. And Tomiyasu played really well last week, and he's going to have a really important game. He's going to be up against Son.
I thought he was outstanding at Burnley, Rob. What an introduction into English football.
Yep,
Burnley away, and he come through with flying colours.
However, big test for him at the weekend because Son is different gravy, isn't it?
I mean, he's a good player. As I said, he's the one player I would have off of Tottenham.
Would you have Tejas says he'd have Højbjerg?
No, leave it out. Do me a favour.
Osgunner says he'd take Højbjerg as well.
It's all opinions, but not. We've got to play Xhaka. You don't want it. You know what I mean? I bet these people are the same people who moan about Xhaka constantly. There's no difference. Actually, I would say Xhaka's better than him. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's better than Holbrook.
Do you know what?
But it's all opinions, Rob, isn't it? Everyone's entitled to it.
Gunnar Vettel says Højbjerg is the Danish Xhaka. Now, Victor Lang says Arsenal's home record is on a 10-game winning streak. Let's go Arsenal. Spurs have lost at Arsenal. The last time they won at Arsenal was in 2010.
Yeah, they were saying that on Sky.
Yeah, I remember that game.
I was told that the
Yunus Kabul, remember?
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
We were 2 up.
Yep.
Shamak 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper just before half time. He missed it, would have made it 3-0. He never got over that miss. And they come back and they won, if you remember.
Yeah, Kabul just rose above.
Yeah, but Fabregas put his hand up and the referee gave handball. Yeah, I remember that. But I think, reverse to that, our record at White Hart Lane's not too good in the league.
No, our record at White Hart Lane's been very poor recently. I mean, it's been mainly
League Cup.
their win at their League Cup Flamini goal. You know, and then I think the last time we won there, remember? I'll tell you, Rizicki's goal. That was a goal. That was a goal to win the North London derby. But we haven't been great at White Hart Lane. But
we have won 2 titles there, Rob. So
got to get that in. Got to get that in. But it's going to be a tough game, Chris.
Yeah, I never any North London derby. I have a certain mantra that I keep. I go off of social media a couple of days before, and I do not give it large. I hate any. If I see anyone, it's 3-0 to Arsenal. Keep your mouth shut. Seriously, and just turn up and hope that we win. But I've got to say something. I went to Burnley Saturday, and I've got to say the support. I think Arsenal fans. I think we're going back. I don't go over too much, old Grant. But a couple of weeks ago, when Edu and Arteta sort of explained where we are as a football club, and their policy that basically we're at ground zero, we're going to go with the youngsters. I think actually they explained that. For Arsenal support, it's just been amazing.
It was brilliant at that game.
Burnley as well. The amount of people, and then 48,000 for Wimbledon at home in the League Cup. And I was speaking to a lot of Arsenal fans on the train coming back, and they were saying that. They were saying, we're right behind this sort of policy. But always with a provider, you got to get results, Rob.
Got to win the North London derby, that's for sure, for them to stay behind it. You're right, the support has been brilliant, and that's going to play a big part. Yeah. I mean, the last North London derby, which Arteta won, there was no fans there. As a matter of fact, he's not actually had a North London derby with fans at the Emirates Stadium.
That is an amazing.
So this will be a big moment for him as well. It's going to be a big moment for a lot of those new players. If say a Ramsdale or Tomiyasu, Sambi Lukonga, these guys start, I mean, they're going to be going into an electric atmosphere forward, because this game, the atmosphere is really ramped up, isn't it?
Who's the ref, Rob? Do you know, out of interest?
I don't know who the ref is. I can try and find out for you, but I don't know who the ref is. Can you guys find out who the ref is for us? Let us know. But I don't know who the ref is. Well, you think that's going to be a big difference?
Always is. I've got to say, this season, I've noticed a couple of things unbelievably have gone our way. We've actually got a VAR decision. We've had 2 VAR decisions on the trot, Norwich and Burnley. I mean, for us, that's amazing.
And they're all the right decisions, by the way.
It makes a change, doesn't it?
Yeah, they were the right decisions. Someone's saying Craig Pawson.
Oh, no. Do you know what? I've never forgiven him for, funny enough, Wolves away last season.
Oh, yeah.
He was the referee in that debacle.
Yeah, oh, bloody hell, not him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Craig Pawson. Everyone's saying Craig Pawson, so
well, God help us. Now,
the other thing I would like to find out is... Is Craig Pawson? Yeah, confirmed. Craig Pawson.
Yeah, lovely.
The other thing I'd like to find out from you, Chris, is who starts in that game, right?
Good question.
Now, I'm going to... You know what? Let me... if you go into the AFTV VIP, they have an app there where you can choose your team. But I'm going to try and see if I can find a team that I did today, right? So this is the team that I went with. I went with Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu at right back, Ben White, Gabriel and Tierney. Then I went with a midfield of Partey, sort of that sitting holding midfielder, Emile Smith-Rowe and Martin Odegaard. And then up front, Pepe, Aubameyang and Saka. Now, it is very attacking. you would have noted from that team there's no Xhaka in there. But you were sort of saying to me before the show that you'd have Xhaka in.
Not I'd have him, Rob. I think Arteta will have him. I just think he'll play him, but I don't.
So who do you think he'll drop out then if he plays Xhaka?
I don't know. That's who I think Smith.
Should he play Xhaka?
I think Smith Rowe could end up on the bench. He could bring him on as a substitute. But I know what Arteta's like, Rob. And you know.
To me, we're playing at home.
Yeah, I know.
We're playing at home. I want us to be on the front foot in this team. I look at that midfield. Thomas Partey last week was brilliant. He can be your holding midfielder. Odegaard, I really was impressed with the way he closes down. His pressing's excellent. So is Smith Rowe's pressing. So they can play a real major job in trying to win the ball back. And then you've got Pepe, Aubameyang and Saka up front. That's a very attacking. And that back four, is quite a solid back four.
On paper, that's a superb team, Rob.
That's a good team. And one of the things is at the moment, there's not really any injuries, which is another thing that... There's a glass here. Yeah, touch wood. But there isn't really any injuries at the moment, Chris. I mean...
That's amazing for Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
So there's no injuries.
But do you like the look of that team?
I mean, I do like the look of it. But I'm wondering, it's not whether you like the look of it. It's what Arteta likes, isn't it?
I mean, you were saying earlier about Xhaka in. I was chatting to Kelechi earlier. He had Xhaka in his team. Why? Why would you put him back in the team? The team's been doing all right without him.
Yeah, but
the 3 games that he played in, we lost them.
I just think, knowing Arteta and the way we've been playing lately, we're not exactly going gun ho. I think we're looking very disciplined, which I quite like. But the thing is, Tottenham's major weakness, and I watched everyone watched the Chelsea game and against Wolves. They can't defend corners or any cross coming into their area. They're terrible.
And we're not that great on that, are we?
We ain't got Tammy Abraham out front, Rob. It was there.
Quite a few people here saying that they think Lacazette should start. So
I'm not sure.
Teja says Laka should start. Aaron says Laka is that guy. Titesto says Lacazette. Will Rickett says no Lokonga.
No, I think he'll be on the bench.
Ben Antonio says Laka has to play. Niku says Laka scores every time he's playing. Yet Robbie wants Aubameyang starting.
He's got a good record.
Got a good record against Tottenham, but
I think Lacazette. I just think sort of the vibes I'm getting that while he's here, he's going to be used as a sub because I just think I get the feeling that his days at Arsenal are numbered, Rob.
Mikel Arteta saying today in his press conference that him and Lacazette have sorted out what's going to happen with his future behind closed doors.
So basically, he's off. That's the manager's speak for. I'll see you later.
Robbie Wells says Lacazette and Aubameyang should start the game. Drop Pepe.
I wouldn't be adverse to that, Rob.
No, man.
But
I wouldn't drop. Pepe creates stuff, man.
Yeah, with Pepe. He's either hot or cold, isn't he? But being fair to him, he has been putting a shift at Burnley. Though he didn't play his natural game,
he worked hard, didn't he?
He put a shift in.
Joel says Lacazette for Aubameyang.
I know, it ain't going to happen. But
do you think that should happen? Would you do that?
No.
I'd have Aubameyang starting.
See, the only thing is, I think we have done well lately in the last 2 games and against Wimbledon. But I've got to admit, we desperately need a striker, Robin.
Got to say, a lot of support here for Lacazette.
He's a
Mr. P
player.
says Lacazette turns up in the North London derby, which he has got. Yeah. He does do well in the North London derby.
But perhaps these days it's a squad game, isn't it? You might say it's 0-0 or 20 minutes to go. You might throw him on and he might hit the winner.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Billy Ferraldi says Pepe needs to play on the left, attack the crosses and the cutbacks.
Well,
I'll tell you what. That's another thing. Kelechi was saying that earlier as well when he was talking. He's saying, why don't we play Saka on the right? When 100%. He started playing on the right last year, he was terrorising teams.
Thing is, who do you think Tottenham's fullbacks would be? Doherty and Emerson Boyce? Or it'll be the Spanish boy.
Emerson Royale, you mean?
Emerson Boyce.
Emerson Boyce.
Well, whatever Emerson's playing, I think we got the players to have a go.
Yeah, Emerson Royale probably. I don't know if they'll play that Emerson Royale. He's been a bit dodgy. They might go for Tanganga because I think he might have served his suspension. He's a decent.
He is a decent.
He's a lot stronger, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping Dyer plays.
Dyer will probably play.
Yeah, that's good.
But he's actually been quite decent for them this season.
Not for me, Rob.
Don't rate him.
Nah.
I mean, we can definitely get at that defence, innit? You saw in the second half. That's what I want Arsenal to be quite attacking in the game, because you saw in the second half the other day, right, when Chelsea, I know Chelsea are a better team than us, but when Chelsea really went for it and turned it up in the second half, Tottenham fell apart. You know?
They didn't look, actually they looked as bad as what we did in our game against Man City.
Yeah, they looked terrible in that second half. Harry Kane in that game against Chelsea, he looked like he couldn't be bothered. He looked like a player that wants out. Now, we know he's got a great record against us. We know that he always scores against us. But if we can keep him quiet, give him a quiet afternoon.
You're halfway there.
Yeah, and you know.
But the thing is, as the law of averages says, that if he hasn't scored, you know, I can see them getting a penalty or something. You just know he'll put it away. I never write Harry Kane off. Whether he wants to be at Spurs at the moment is up for question, but I wouldn't write him off, Rob. I wish he had scored, actually. I wish he'd broken his duck, so to speak.
He did score the other night, to be fair, in the League Cup. GRF says Laka's got better hold-up play and gets others involved and wins fouls. If Aubameyang doesn't score, he does nothing for the team. Lacazette also more physical. But I'm just looking at this and I'm saying, we're at home. It's not an away game. We're at home. I want Arsenal to be on the front foot. I want Arsenal to be playing in balls being behind. I want Lacazette and Pepe or Saka. I want those guys terrorising those fullbacks. Because even Reguilon, who was really good last season for Tottenham, he ain't been that great this season. You know what I mean?
But that's a good point.
We've got to really get at him. I'm not sure if this is a hold-up play game.
Yeah, I think I don't know if nerves might come into play. There's a lot at stake here, Rob. Because I'll tell you something, I think Arteta might be a little bit... I know you want to go gun-ho, but I wonder if Arteta might be...
Well, it ain't gun-ho, is it?
He might be a bit cautious.
This is the thing sometimes with Arteta, it's too much caution.
Exactly.
It's not gun-ho. You've got Thomas Partey, because to me now, when Thomas Partey starts, you've got yourself, when he's playing in that defensive midfielder role, you've got yourself a proper defensive midfielder. Good in a tackle, strong, big, I mean, got a real presence there, but great on the ball. When he gets that ball, he can spray some brilliant passes. He can drive into space. So that's sorted. The back four with Tomiyasu in there, he looks, you know, I can see why, you know, they say he can play centre-half as well. Because he can drop back into there, you know, even if we do bomb forward, and he can still form a free. And he's solid. Ben White, well, I want to see Ben White step up in this game because he could have cost us that game last week against Burnley.
Terrible back pass.
Gabriel was brilliant last week. I think defensively, if you've got the hard-working guys of Smith Rowe and Odegaard, they're going to get back, they're going to press. I think the key is pressing that Tottenham midfield into mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they lack a lot of creativity, that midfield.
I don't think they've got any creativity. Actually. No, I mean... They might play that Brian Gill, was it? Gill they brought in
Yeah, but he's more a winger though, isn't he?
Yeah, but
and then they got like Ndombele, he hasn't really lit it up yet.
There's Dele
Alli, Skip, and Højbjerg. There's not really a lot of creativity in that midfield.
Right. Yeah, good point, Rob.
Lo Celso maybe, but again, he's not really lit it up, has he? So, Michael Henriksen says, we need an old-fashioned striker. He said, I saw Big Mac score in 1977 in the derby on a trip to the UK. Greetings from Melbourne.
I remember
Big
that
Mac.
game. Yeah, Super Mac.
Jeez, Super
I remember
Mac,
that.
mate.
It was
What a player.
I remember that game.
That was an old-fashioned number 9 if you ever saw one.
I used to love Malcolm McDonald. 59 goals in 2 years, Rob.
Yeah, he had a presence, that's for sure.
And that game, I remember the game he's talking about. Two fantastic left-foot volleys. I think though Willie Young got sent off, he was playing for us then.
Yeah, he was like a Xhaka, he was.
Yeah. And I think it ended 2-2. Remember that game, mate?
Xhaka scored, what was this guy say? Xhaka scored a hat-trick and fans would be like, Aubameyang played well even on the bench. So I think he's saying that we're having a go at Xhaka. Listen, Xhaka let us down the other day, getting sent off at Man City.
You could say he's let us down by not having a COVID jab, but that's another story.
Yeah, so I don't know.
But the thing is, mustn't get onto this Xhaka. You know what I mean? Personally, as I said before, he's like Marmite, Rob. You either love him or you hate him.
If he does play, what's it then? Then you're playing a 2 in midfield.
Yeah.
Oh, well, why? We don't need
It's really the bottom line is it's down to Arteta. Is he going to be brave? Is he going to go for it, or is Coulson?
You've got a Tottenham team. You've got a Tottenham team that's just shipped 6 goals in their last 2 league games, right? 3 against Chelsea last week.
3 against
3 the previous week against Palace. There could have been more in both games. In both games, it should have really been more.
And if you look at those games, a lot of the goals come from 2 flanks.
Yeah.
So which backs up the team you've selected, Rob.
To me, I'm just like, go for it. We're at home. This is where I want to see Mikel Arteta throw the shackles off. And say to those players, go out there, not be stupid.
Yeah.
We know that, but go out there and attack.
The sad thing about it is because we've had such a bad start, like if we we're playing catch up and we can't afford to lose this game because basically we're back to square one.
Yeah. Will Ricketts says, Robbie, why Aubameyang over Lacazette? What has Aubameyang done so far this season that gives him the nod? 4-3-3 with Lokonga, left midfield, Partey centre midfield, Emile Smith-Rowe, right midfield, Saka, right wing, Pepe, left wing. Right, he says, copy Chelsea mid-scheme from the second half. Well, to me, what has Lacazette done either? I mean, he hasn't really done... I mean, actually, in all competitions so far this season, Aubameyang scored more goals. He's got 4. Yeah, 4. So, and to me, and you was at the game last week, Chris, I know he didn't score.
He put a shift in.
But he put a shift in. Well, he really did. I mean, it was one of those games where you have to put a shift in, and he did.
But the thing is, this argument does highlight whether you want Aubameyang, Lacazette, Nketiah, etc., etc. It does highlight, Rob, in January, come hook or crook, we have got to sign a striker.
I doubt we will.
But we have to.
Goonalad89 says Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah.
Yeah? Leno don't come back?
I think, as with Lacazette, I think things have been... I think Leno... I think they've made up their... They're not going to come out and say this, but I think they've made up their mind on certain players. And I think he's one of them. I wouldn't be surprised if say Napoli, who was sniffing around him, or apparently his old club in Germany, come in with an offer. I think they might sell him.
You reckon?
Yeah. Hence Hein getting a new contract.
He's not gonna like the fact that he's at the moment he's number 2.
Of course he ain't.
And I felt sorry for him the other night. That game in Wimbledon. I mean, I could have been in goal. I mean, I don't think he had one save to make in the whole game. He had nothing to do.
I just think in January, if you were to sell Leno, Lacazette, and even say they got an offer in for Xhaka. There's Juventus.
They just signed him to a new deal.
Perhaps that's to protect his value, possibly. I wouldn't rule us out buying a couple of players in January, Rob.
You could see Xhaka going?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
You
got a few things right since you've been coming on the show.
Well, I don't want to brag, Rob. But the thing is, just say... Arteta did take his brave pills and he sticks with the team and Xhaka that doesn't get his place back, he's not going to be wanting to sit in the reserves, is he? And if say Juventus or someone come up with a good offer,
you bite their hand off, mate.
Yeah, of course we will.
GOF says if Aubameyang doesn't show up this game or misses sitters again, it's time to replace him in the starting 11. He can't live off that FA Cup run forever. Yeah. So GOF's not feeling Aubameyang at all at the moment. Daniel Eglinton says, do you think with Thiago Silva and David Luiz aging, Gabriel could go to the World Cup for Brazil? Gabriel and Marquinhos would be a madness. That's a good shout. I mean, listen, Gabriel's still a little bit raw, but he's definitely progressing. I feel a lot better when I see him in the team. And the real strange thing for every Arsenal fan going into this weekend is that Mikel Arteta, this is the big contrast from the first 3 games, is he's literally got a full squad to pick from. I don't think there's any injuries. He's got, he's got options everywhere to pick from his team. There's lots of players he can pick. You know what I mean? He's got a fit Thomas Partey. He's got fit Lacazette, Aubameyang, Eddie Nketiah. You know,
I thought, by the way,
everyone's fit.
I'm glad you mentioned Eddie. I thought we looked a bit sharp the other night.
He played very well. I mean, there's a guy called Stan Kroenke in the chat. He says start Nketiah. And,
I'll leave him on the bench.
He looks sharp. He scored a great goal. It's Wimbledon, though.
Yeah, but, you know, you can only play what's put in front of you. Another cliche, but there you go.
Yeah, true. Emile Smith-Rowe as well is another player for me. He has to start.
Yeah, I thought he was great the other night. Burnley, I thought
Saka.
he played well. Yeah.
And Saka came on, and you know, it was Saka who, even though I didn't think he had the greatest game the other night, it was his driving run that won that free kick for Odegaard, who's another player for me. He's got to start. Odegaard, remember as well, Odegaard rested the other night, which suggests he will start.
I'll tell you what, I thought he was wonderful with Burnley.
Yeah, what a goal. What a free kick.
He's all round before. And I'll tell you something else. I don't want to be big-headed about you saying I've got a few things right. But remember, I said I did not want James Maddison.
Did you?
Yeah. And I'm so glad we didn't get him.
Why didn't you want him?
Because I think he's not in the same league as Odegaard for a start off.
You reckon?
Yeah. And I noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but he's struggling at Leicester at the moment, Maddison. He got subbed in their last game at half-time. But put it this way, he's not a £70 million footballer, man. Odegaard is 70. We got him for 30.
So you think we've got a great deal with Odegaard? I mean, I like Odegaard. I was glad. I was glad to see when he came back. You know, Polymotion says Wimbledon is Nketiah's level.
Yeah, well, I suppose you could say that, but you know, you still got to put what's in front of you.
You've got to score the goals, and I thought it was a fantastic goal he scored. And somebody that no one's mentioned yet. Neither me or you, and Cello mentions him. He says Martinelli over Nketiah. That's another guy who played very well and is fit. That's what I mean. There's lots of options. You can bring a Martinelli off the bench. I thought he played really well against Wimbledon. It was his brilliant run that led to the penalty for the first goal, and he was on it.
I'm desperate. I think most Arsenal fans are desperate to see Martinelli's career get up and running.
Yeah.
You know, because I think there's a player there, Rob. But once again, I wonder if Arteta thinks he's a player. I
think, you know what? I think what I'm picking up from you, and I think how I'm feeling, I want to see a bit of bravery from Mikel Arteta this weekend. I know, Tottenham are a dangerous team, whether we like it or not, whether we dislike Tottenham because of the rivalry or not. We've got to be real. They're a dangerous team. Son and Harry Kane, two of the most dangerous forward players in world football.
Well,
right?
if you put them on
that's facts.
That's a lot of money if you used to buy them.
Exactly. So, you know, we got to be on it defensively. We've got to be cautious. But I don't want us to be over cautious. I want us to have a go at this game. I want the big guns out there. This is the first time for a long time that everyone's fit. For me, there's no excuses on this one. And we're facing a Tottenham that have had back-to-back defeats. They're not in a great place. You know, speaking to a couple of their fans, you know, I mean, a few weeks ago, they were winning the league. Right? Now, they're very, very worried about this game. Let's go out there and let's really stick it on them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, I hope you're right, Robbie, but, you know, I suppose it's nerves, isn't it? I'm nervous. You know what I mean? It does every North London derby I've gone, when we were far superior to them, I've always had that little, you know what I mean? I like to get that first goal and relax. Troops
pointing out to me today, teams that have scored first in the North London derby at the Emirates in recent times haven't always gone on to win the game.
A couple of famous.
Good
point, Troops.
That's about the only good point you made. I'm only joking, Troops. Don Saki says, do you think Martinelli is more a striker or a winger?
I think he's a striker.
Yeah?
Yeah, but thing is, I suppose he is the higher apparent, isn't he, to Aubameyang and Lacazette. And if he was but he's only going to start. He's got to start playing, Robbie, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, Franklin Goodwin says Martinelli isn't ready. Stop gassing him up so much.
But I wouldn't say he's not ready.
He's ready.
I just think his career. He's had a bad injury. Actually, he had two bad injuries in succession. So it knocked him out of the game for about 12 months. Then he come back. He hasn't really got. Then he played it against Brentford when he just come back from the Olympics. He needs to get a run in the team, Rob.
Yeah, Akash says Martinelli will be like Gnabry. he will leave if he doesn't get a chance.
Well, you can't. Funnily enough, there's rumours about him coming back, isn't there? Gnabry.
Thought I'd have him back in a heartbeat. Tampa Bay says target the new Spurs signings of Emerson and Romero.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But the thing is, Romero, if you speak to people who sort of know about footballers from South America, I reckon he's a beast. I reckon he could be
he's coming with a big rep. They paid a lot of money for him. I mean, you know, everyone's been pinpointing the Ben White thing, £50 million. For Romero, I think they paid 45 million plus for him as well.
I think
so, and he's, you know, he's
some of the criticism of Ben White's been really a bit stupid, Rob. I just think that's pundits on a certain.
What you made of him so far, though? Be real.
He had a disappointing game at Brighton.
Brentford.
I thought he was all right against Norwich, and then last week I thought he won all his headers, but then he had that mad moment
but
at the end. I know what you mean.
That could have cost us all 3 points. Well, not all 3 points, but
and then what doesn't help, I suppose,
is
is Saliba in France getting rave reviews. That's not helping either, is it? But we got to get behind him, because if you want him to succeed. There's no good people slagging him off.
Arteta, obviously this is a tactic. I noticed that when they play out from the back, it always goes to him first.
Yeah, he's a lovely user of the ball.
Yeah, and he was doing this thing last week. I know he was at the game as well, where he was just putting his foot on it and waiting for him. Yeah. I didn't like that.
But the thing is,
it just seemed a little bit too casual to me.
I suppose when he was at Brighton, he could express himself more, because he had one side he has. Who's the two centre halves? Dunk, and I can't remember.
Dunk.
Who's the other Brighton centre? Duffy.
Yeah.
And they're two like what you call traditional English centre halves. So I suppose he could play the ball, but now he's come to Arsenal. It's him and Gabriel, so he's got to take a bit more responsibility.
Yeah, he seems to be. He's the guy that it all seems to go for at the moment,
and that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Nick Goulart says, "I really hope if Pepe plays, that he's playing. It's not on the left. Saka's too good off the right not to play him there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Emerson Peasant has shown that he doesn't enjoy players dribbling at him. No. Pepe would be perfect.
Well, Sahar against Emerson rips him
apart, didn't he? But that's what I want to see Pepe doing, and that's what I want to. And I do think I'd like to see Saka on that right hand side driving, because I really love that guy when he's on the ball and he's driving in. So,
and the thing is,
bravery, got to be
just
brave.
To cheer out everyone. I think because a lot of the Hale End boys, they know when it's like to beat Tottenham, Rob.
Yeah,
it's drummed into them from a very early age, and I think that could work in our favour. I always remember a famous game that I watched at London Colney when Arsenal youth team South East Counties beat Tottenham 10-1.
Wow.
And I was watching Rocastle in this game.
Wow.
And I'll never ever forget it, saying they do not come over the halfway line, and we were 9-0 up at the time.
Wow.
I thought that's the attitude.
Take a bit of that on Saturday.
Yeah,
Sunday, sorry. And Goonalad89 says, "Love your lives, Don Robbie, as you actually read out our messages." Of course, man. I mean, that's what we're here for. You guys are the show, right? You are the show, right? Me and Chris are just here to read, right, and have a little opinion on it. Mark Arthur says, "Do you feel a player like Eddie Nketiah will do better if Mikel Arteta was a better coach?"
That's quite a loaded question, really. Are we a better coach? I don't know about that.
One thing I would say
I'll tell you,
he's giving him a chance, isn't he?
I'll tell you the answer to that is who's the coaching, what football, all the managers in the Premier League, including Pep, who's their guru? Bielsa. And Bielsa had him.
Yeah.
And didn't use him, hardly. So that's the answer to that one.
That is true. That is true. Although a lot of Leeds fans was moaning and saying that why did they send him back, because the Leeds fans did actually like him.
Yeah, but, he's the sort of semi-god of coaching, isn't he, Bielsa? If you listen to all the Arteta included, by the way, they all love him, don't they?
Caberni Show says Robbie could signing Lingard have been a better buy than Odegaard.
The answer to that is no. But in January, I've never thought I'd say this.
Here he goes again. He's doing everything. You're on some major shop in January, aren't you?
Well, I think you could pick up Lingard for not a big fee.
Yeah, because he can go on a free at the end of the season as well.
And you got to admit, I never thought I'd ever say this,
Good player, you know.
I think he looks really good.
He's looking sharp. I mean, he scored a cracking
I'd
goal
say if I
last
was
week.
Man United, I wouldn't let him go, actually.
Yeah, he's looking. He stepped his
you
game
know what
up.
he did for West Ham last season?
Yeah, and then he comes back and bangs in that winner against
Well,
West Ham.
you know,
Yeah,
that tells you a bit about him, doesn't it? He's a top-class professional.
his confidence is up. I think he's a player that is confident. His confidence is there.
Can you imagine him with Odegaard, etc.?
Yeah. What I do like about him, he does score goals.
Yeah, but
And our midfield needs to score
But
more
the thing
goals.
is, there'd be another player Arsenal fans would go into meltdown like they did with Ramsdale.
Well, Ramsdale is proving everybody wrong at the moment, isn't he?
Yes, well.
That was another one you said, wasn't it? Oh, God. You know what, right? I was at the game on Saturday, and this guy, he turned around to me and he goes, "Gonna have a go at Ramsdale then, Robert?" He goes, "I heard what you said about him when we were thinking of getting him." So I said, "Listen, and let me get this straight, right? When it came to Ramsdale, right, I wasn't the most enthusiastic to begin with. It wasn't so much Ramsdale himself, it was the price tag. I was like, that amount of money, 35, remember 35 million is what they were talking about
We
at
got it
first.
down to 20 something.
Yeah, and I was like, 35 million. And when I've seen that guy play, he's made mistakes. I'm like, nah, why don't we get that Onana guy? You know, keep Leno, keep the money, you know what I mean? But I have to say, so far, he's proved me wrong, and I loved his enthusiasm.
Well, I'll tell you,
He seems to really be happy. I love to see when I see a player.
he's proud to wear the
Obviously,
shirt.
he's proud to wear the shirt. He's buzzing at the moment.
And
You can see it.
You know, I don't look at harping on, but I'll show my age. But I'll tell you who he does remind me of. It's Bob Wilson.
Bob Wilson.
Yeah, he does. The way he takes.
That's a my praise.
I'm telling you,
Jesus.
I'd love to meet. I'd love to see Bob Wilson and ask him, because the way he gets corners,
Yeah.
and also he's got a lot of bravery. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, no,
Razor,
brave.
And the most bravest goalkeeper I've ever seen at Arsenal is Bob Wilson. He does remind me of. Bob.
Oh, wow. That's high praise indeed. Same Jay says, Emil Smith-Rowe and Odegaard are both likely to start in a 4-3-3, and Aubameyang should definitely start up top. He's a showman who'd love to front flip after a goal versus Spurs. Well, he's got to put it in the back of the net first before
The
he
thing
starts
is,
front
if
flipping.
you look at that, the team that you think or hope that Arsenal play, and then if forgetting the obvious top four, if you look at that team and compare it, who are we up against this season? Leicester.
Yeah, everybody.
We're up, but the thing is, our team's as good as anyone we're up against. I can't. The only one.
A lot of very similar teams.
The only team it might is West Ham, because they are good this season. I've been very
West Ham
impressed
look
with
decent.
them. They got some good
I
players.
think Villa looked good as well.
Yeah, but I still think on our day we could beat Villa. Leicester, bit in and out. No, Villa in and out. Everton. So we're trying to come 5th or 6th. And well, that's where we are, Rob.
5th or 6th. Funk Master says Leno never attacks crosses. This is why I prefer Ramsdale.
Yeah, I know he's very positive. But the thing is, that's another thing. I don't want it to turn this into like we hate Leno, because he's had his faults. But the bottom line is, I don't think his heart's in it. He wants to go to Germany. He was quite up front, wasn't he, when he said, "I might want another adventure." He actually said that. He hasn't hidden that, has he? So, he's been a good keeper. He hasn't been as bad as.
Listen, I remember in the North London derby when we played. I think it was the last game when we played Tottenham at Wembley. Remember that save he pulled off right at the end against that unbelievable save.
He's not a bad keeper, Rob.
Yep.
Perhaps he's a bit disillusioned with life. Perhaps he's homesick. You don't know. There's millions of things.
Yeah, millions of things can happen. Travis says, I'm still not convinced by Ramsdale or White. This game will be the test. Yeah, and I guess he's right here. You know what I mean? This is where we find out what these players...
Trouble with a keeper, you can go from 0 to 0 and like that.
Yeah, it's true. Dini Ahmed says, Robbie, let's get Antonio. We need strength up top to assist Lacazette and Aubameyang.
I do like him, but West Ham will never sell him.
He's always injured as well, isn't he? I like him as well. Really, what a player he's turned out to be.
If you want a player, but you might have to wait to the summer to get him, is the bloke at Brentford.
Ivan Toney, he played really well.
He's Drogba part 2.
You heard what he said last week.
Yeah, well, I think that was a come and get me. Seriously. I thought that was an interesting interview.
Right, what about this player, right? And this guy, Kid Emmy, he's recommending a player that I love.
Go on.
I love watching this player. He said Arsenal need to get Maximan. He means St. Maximan of Newcastle.
I'm not sure, Rob.
Come on! Not sure.
I'm not sure. He's a wonderful footballer, but I think.
I'd love to see him at Arsenal.
I just
pace, power.
Yeah, but he's not.
Scores goals.
He's not sort of what I want. That sort
What's
of
wrong with him?
I want a sort of Giroud type of player. You could.
No, he's not a striker, is he?
Yeah, and
he's a winger.
I'm not saying no to him, but my priority is a striker who can hold the ball up.
I think with the amount of crosses I've seen coming into the box from Arsenal this season, a Calvert-Lewin, he'd probably be on about 5 goals already for Arsenal.
Well, he'd hit 30 a season.
Yeah, because we're putting crosses in now,
and
then there's no one on the end of them.
It breaks my heart, Rob.
Bijou says our biggest problem is left wing. No right-footed start, too many left-footers, and Gabby needs refining. I'm not too sure about that. That Nuno Tavares looked good the other night as well.
Yeah, he got a
bit raw.
Game. Yeah.
Needs to learn how to throw though. I mean, that's 2 games in a row that I've seen him playing now that he's done a foul throw.
Well, it's bad.
You know, he's worse than Bellerin's ones. I tell you, he does a little throw where he just throws it into the ground. Z says St. Maximum is Gervinho 2.0.
Nah, he's
come on, man. He's a good player.
He's better than Gervinho. I'll tell you what. And I'll tell you something, because in that Newcastle team, he don't get no help, Rob.
Yeah.
He's a one-man player, isn't he, up there? Let's face it.
People are suggesting loads of players for us now. We've got off topic in the North London derby because Davey Hine is saying, what about Bamford?
Yeah, I do like him, actually.
Nah.
But I'm not sure.
Good player, but not what we need.
If Leeds sold him, they burn the stadium down. No, that won't happen.
All right, Golden Scorpion, this is doable. He says, what about Anthony Martial?
No, not in a million years, Rob. The last thing I want is another inconsistent. I don't fancy it forward up front. No, not in a million years.
Even if, say he's going like 10 mil?
No, sorry. Not what we want.
10 mil?
No, I wouldn't have him. Sorry, Rob. I'd rather have Sahar from Palace.
Yeah, well, he's quality. He's absolute quality. Yeah. Any other suggestions for you? You guys are suggesting loads out there. We should have gone for Edin Dzeko, says the Hobbit Kai.
10 years ago, yeah. Well, you might as well got Giroud back for 1.5 million.
10 years ago. Polymation says Martial is finished. Tampa Bay says, what about Souček?
Well, there is a good football, but thing is, so hello, can I speak to the West Ham chairman? That'd be £100 million, please.
Adama Traore, says Josek.
Nah.
No?
No, in product. I'll tell you, what a good, I'm glad who's the wall striker who hurt his head at the Arsenal? He clashed with Luis.
Yeah, the Mexican.
Before his injury,
he was brilliant.
Unfortunately, I don't think he scored a goal this season.
No, he hasn't.
He, for me, would be ideal for us.
Did you see in the last game where he went for a header, he headed it wide, and he took off the...
he threw it on the floor.
He threw it down as if to say, right, I'm going to play. Maybe that's affecting him.
Yeah, well, it would.
Jimenez.
He's a good player.
So thank you, Victor Serrano. Jimenez. Raul Jimenez. Joshua says it's clear that Partey is really 30 years plus. He's lying about his age and is going to keep having injuries and poor form. Time for Ndidi. What's this guy talking about?
Well, you can't argue with his injuries, Raul, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries have been terrible. And this guy's suggesting, Tomo, saying, put up Pablo Mari as a striker. I mean, he can win some headers. Bijou says, if Xhaka starts and gets a red card or error for a goal, sack Mikel Arteta.
No, I think if God forbid Xhaka had done that, I think he'd end up getting the sack. Yeah, that would be so. You can't keep being irresponsible.
Yeah, but you said that how many times?
But to be fair to him,
every time we say that, and then he goes and does it again.
But being fair to him, that tackle he did in the Man City game, I've seen at least 5 tackles in subsequent games that have been worse, and the bloke's only got a yellow card. E.g. Burnley centre half on Richarlison the other week, and it was worse.
Yeah. Hugh says Chris needs to be our new head of football at Arsenal.
Well, I'll take this out.
Bissouma for squad depth.
No, not for squad depth, for buying, playing him.
Yeah, if you had him, Bissouma and Partey in that midfield, I mean, all of a sudden, it starts like a powerhouse. And I mean, that's why I still...
And a homesick Tammy Abraham up front.
Yeah. This beer signings coming in, right? We're not even in transfer time at the moment. This guy says sign Bernardo Silva. R-Dash says.
Nah.
And what was the other one? There was Sterling says controversial.
Well, I'll tell you something. I was amazed the other day. I think he's only scored one in his last 18 league matches or something.
Yeah, he's been poor in the league.
But I wonder,
does it all for England.
You know, I wonder if he could do with a move, but he wouldn't move to Arsenal if we're not in Europe. That might be, next summer.
Yavad says my dream signing up front would be Osherman from Napoli. He's the Nigerian guy.
Yeah,
he's
I've heard
a good player.
He's wonderful.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's having a good season as well. All these suggestions coming in, right? But we got the team already in place. We're not going to get those signings till at least January. It's all about the North London derby. Chris, I haven't had your prediction yet.
I'm going to upset you, Rob. I think it'll be a draw.
Draw?
I'll tell you why. I think both teams are in such a precarious... I just think it'll be a draw.
Both teams don't want to lose,
basically, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised at how it ended.
You know what? This guy here, Hugh Merizer again, he says Arsenal to win 3-1, and I'm going with that as well.
Well, obviously, I hope that.
At first, I was saying to myself, no, maybe I should switch it back to 2-1 because we don't score enough goals.
I'm more worried about the referee, what I am about in Tottenham. Because I forgot, I was just sitting here. There's loads of games he's refereed. I'll tell you another game he was a ref. Was the Crystal Palace one a couple of years ago when Chambers scored? Do you remember that? It was a VAR goal.
Right.
And he was, and then I think he also sent Maitland-Niles off for something he didn't do. I can't get.
One that got them mixed up.
Yeah, and I can't get his display against us at Wolves out of my head.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I'm going to throw that in. He worries me more than what Tottenham do.
Sam Sega says 3-0 on Come On Your Gunners. Andy Gare says Spurs to win 3-1. Bloody hell. Michael Demetrius says 3-1 to Arsenal. Femi says 3-0 on Come On Your Gunners. 1-0 says Neil.
That'll do me. 1-0.
That'll do me.
Another
goal
to the Arsenal. Die in the 89th minute.
Best in the World 13X says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Kai Hadaj says 1-0. 1-0 to the Arsenal. 3-1 says Will Ricketts. 2-1 says Nick. 2-0 says Tampa Bay. Enzo going 3-1 to the Arsenal.
I can't.
2-0 says Adash. Joel says 2-1. I mean, everybody going for an Arsenal win. 4-2 says Sherez. Who's asking going 2-0? Clive Laws says 2-2, Jacques a red card and a missed penalty.
Thanks. But the thing is, obviously Arsenal fans are going to start. Obviously we want to win, but you've asked me what I think will happen, and I think it'll be a draw.
If Mikel Arteta is brave with his selection and is on the front foot in that game, I think we could win that game.
I agree.
Maybe me saying 3-1, maybe I'm going a bit too over the top. Maybe
like a
2-1, 1-0. But if we go into there all negative, two holding midfielders, negative, then
but the thing
I can see what you said, a draw.
But the thing is,
go for it.
It's in Arteta's court, Rob, because he'll be putting himself under pressure again, won't he? Because if, say, God forbid, it was to go, we were to lose and we played negative, that'd be 4 defeats out of the first 6 league games. But more importantly, 2 games played at the Emirates against London teams, we lost them both.
Yeah, can't afford to do that.
So it'll all start up again.
Yep. Who's the all-time highest goal scorer between Arsenal and Tottenham with 11 goals?
Kane.
Got to keep him quiet. VJ says 2-0 and we're above Spurs on goals scored.
Yeah. I'm not bothered about it. All I'm bothered is getting enough points on the table. You know, it'd be nice to come, but obviously the season don't end in September. You know what I mean? after Tottenham, we got another hard game against
away.
Brighton.
That's a very tough game.
And then no one's mugs this season.
Yeah.
So you know
well,
what I
listen,
mean?
they're fourth in the league at the moment. Airborne says a 4-1 to Arsenal, Aubameyang hat-trick and Partey. Oh, I don't love that.
I don't know what you're on, mate, but I'm going to have some of it.
I'd love that, but I think the key to it is that, as I said, Harry Kane, Son, got to keep them quiet. They've been the two over the last few years that have just ripped us apart.
Especially at the lane.
Yeah, and we've been far too slack in. I mean, how can you have a player like Harry Kane that always does so well against us? And sometimes he's still in acres of space and stuff like that. Therefore, we're going to have to deal with that threat better. We're going to have to deal with the threat of Son better. If we can do that, I really do think we can win this game. And as I said, down to Mikel Arteta, how brave are you? Go for it, man.
Yeah, well, let's hope he does, Robbie. But, you've asked me, and I think it'll be a draw. But I hope to be proven wrong, of course.
Yeah, you'd be down there, of course?
Obviously, yeah.
Got any rituals you do for a game? I've never asked you that before.
Yeah. Because we won the last 2 home games, I go to the same cafe.
Same cafe?
Yeah, it's down Blackstock Road.
All right.
Because before the 2 games before that, the Chelsea game, I didn't go in there. I know it's stupid, but all fans are the same.
Yeah.
Then I might go in the Bank of Friendship for a couple of pints and go in the ground. But I've got my son with me.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's all football fans are like
tread
that.
the same path this week.
You tread the same path.
Tread the same path this week. I always go up the wherever I'm going in. If I go in and we win, I always go that way. I always go up them same flight of stairs. And at the moment, it's sort of like as you're getting in from sort of the Armoury side, it's that first flight I'm going up, and I'll stick to that until we lose.
But the thing is also, sometimes I know it's mad, but I suppose after going to Arsenal over 56 years, some days when you wake up, you just know you're going to be okay.
That's true,
It's weird, isn't it?
Last week against Burnley,
I knew he was going to be okay.
I knew. I was.
Isn't that weird?
A lot of times I'm going up there, I'm like, oh my God, man, I know it's coming. How are we going to be able to deal with all the high stuff and that? But last week, I was driving up there and I was like, calm. I'm like, yeah, I think we've got this.
And you're not to see the same. If I see the same person, I see a lot. I feel more relaxed. I know it's mad, but there you go. But the thing is, when we played Chelsea at home, the place didn't feel right. I don't know if you noticed that. There wasn't. Yeah. There was no energy.
There was a good atmosphere, but the vibe
was wrong.
Was almost like
defeatist.
Not sure we're going to win this.
But Burnley last week are superb, mate.
Yeah.
Big up Arsenal fans get a lot of stick.
They were brilliant.
This library and all that crap.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, and the crowd against Wimbledon, that's amazing.
And I'll tell you what, it's going to be lively in there on Sunday. And of course, we'll be there, AFTV, we'll be there after the game as well, getting your interviews. We'll be also here in the studio doing our watch along. I'm sure we'll catch up with Chris next week as well to see what he made of it as well. It's Arsenal taking on Tottenham in the North London derby. It doesn't get any bigger. And we're really, really looking forward to the game. If we were to win that game, let me just say it again, we'll be level on points with Spurs. And who would have thought that coming into, even into this month after the horrendous start to the league that we had. So let's hope that the boys can get a big win. Don't forget to check out Ultimate Fan. The link is in the description. Get your packs. It's a great game to play. I've got about 3 Arsenal players in my team this week. So please don't let me down, right? But come on, Arsenal, man. Let's get this one done. Let's win this game. Arsenal versus Tottenham. Please. It's going to be massive. Have yourself a great weekend and see you on Sunday.